Hello, welcome to Cory Reads. I am Cory, and we will continue our reading of the Bible. Right now, we are on still the first book of Moses, called Genesis, chapter 5. And it says that this is the book of the generations of Adam. In the day that God created man, in the likeness of God made he him. Male and female created he them, and blessed them, and called their names Adam, in the day when they were created. And Adam lived 130 years and begat a son in his own likeness, after his image, and called his name Seth. So, according to this is where the ages of the people in the Bible don't seem accurate based on modern standards. So basically, Adam was 130 years old when he had Seth, which is after they got kicked out of the Garden of Eden, and after Cain and Abel. It's after all that, and then he had Seth at 130 years. Now, since this was written a long time ago, before the current standards of age and years, that could be totally different as far as the actual ages go that people lived, could be based on something totally different. I'm not sure, so we're just going to just read it as it is and go with that. And the days of Adam after he had begotten Seth were 800 years, and he begat sons and daughters. So after Seth, he lived for another 800 years and had more sons and daughters. And all the days that Adam lived were 930 years, and he died. So, according to this, 930 years is how old Adam lived before he died. And, 930 years, nobody lives that these days. That's why it's kind of interesting that these ages don't fit today's standards or any modern standards as far as years. It could be a translation thing back then. Something translates into years, could be something totally different. I don't know. But we will just keep going. And Seth lived 105 and begat Enos. And Seth lived after he begat Enos 807 years and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Seth were 912 years, and he died. And Enos lived 90 years and begat Canaan. And Enos lived after he begat Canaan 815 years and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Enos were 905 years, and he died. So, it could be a way of explaining that these people lived so long that they had so many children that it's how the world became populated. On the flip side, though, it still had where, like, when Cain got kicked out, he still went and married somebody. So there's people already there. And this is just saying that they had a lot more over 900 years that they were alive. And Canaan lived 70 years and begat Mahalaleel. And Canaan lived after he begat Mahalaleel 840 years and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Canaan were 910 years, and he died. And Mahalaleel lived 65 years and begat Jared. So they're living less before they start having the character. Like, that was only 65 years, where like Adam was 130 years. But it could just be the main person that we're talking about, because we're following a certain family tree all the way down certain branches, because all the other people, they don't really come into discussion at all in here. But moving on, Mahalaleel lived after he begat Jared 830 years and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Mahalaleel were 895 years, and he died. And Jared lived 162 years, and he begat Enoch. Now this was 160 years, where the other one was just 65. So it's just the years and the ages don't make sense nowadays based on today's standards, like I said multiple times. So it's kind of hard to relate to this part necessarily. And as it being believable, but that's based on today's standards. Okay, and Jared lived after he begat Enoch 800 years and begat sons and daughters. Now this Enoch here, let's see, the days. And Enoch lived 65 years and begat Methuselah. And Enoch walked with God after he begat Methuselah 300 years and begat sons and daughters. So he didn't die. Here, and it says, and all the days of Enoch were 365 years, and Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. So he never dies. And this is the Enoch that the book of Enoch is supposed to be written by, which is very interesting. Explains lots of other things that aren't in the Bible, and it's not accepted by the major church as an actual, I think what's apocryphal, something like that. Anyway, and Methuselah lived in 187 years and begat Lamech. And Methuselah lived after he begat Lamech 782 years and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Methuselah were 969 years, and he died. And Lamech lived 182 years and begat a son. And he named his son Noah, saying, the same shall comfort us concerning our work and toil of our hands, because of the ground which the Lord hath cursed. And Lamech lived after he begat Noah 595 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Lamech were 777 years, and he died. And Noah was 500 years old, and Noah begat Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And this is the Noah that builds the ark, which is all the next couple chapters that we'll get into. But that is chapter 5. It basically takes us from Adam to Noah, and basically branches out that whole family tree of the direct descendants. And that is pretty much it for chapter 5. So thanks for listening. We will move on to chapter 6 and get into the ark and the flood and all that next. Thanks.